I have been sitting here in front of this camera in silence, literally trying to figure out how to begin this video. I've been dreading making this video for the last few weeks, and I don't understand why it's so difficult. Or maybe it's just it's a bit of a weird video to make, and it will be a little bit different than from my normal content. Today's video will include a more personal update, which normally I would keep to sort of facts, maybe share experiences from my own life, but nothing much more personal than that. But today I have to share about a personal update because I do think it will be at some point become relevant to this channel as well. And I want to be honest with you as a viewer, and especially if you've subscribed to my channel and are looking for a certain type of content. As I've mentioned probably in almost every video, I've lived in Ireland for the last 6 years. And before that, my husband and I lived in Cyprus and Austria, and I spent a little bit of time in the UAE, in Greece, several years in Romania, in Germany, and I've also lived in Sweden, although I was 2 years old, so I don't have very many memories from that. So my life has been a lot about moving, changing, needing to readapt, different people, countries, cultures. And that is actually why I wanted to start this channel. I wanted to use some of the lessons I've learned, the experiences, to help others who want to live this kind of expat lifestyle. We came with a short-term mindset, and every once in a while we'd sort of toy with the idea of, well, what if we would stay long-term, buy a house, really settle somewhere? Because both him and I, we've lived very sort of change-filled lives. Like, we've both been living in several different countries, and I think there's a part of us that longs for some steadiness, like putting down roots and that sort of thing. While we had looked into staying in Ireland longer term, that is unfortunately not going to happen. And actually, things are changing and have already changed quite a bit for us. And I'll get into that now a little bit more. The big update is that we did end up having to move away from Ireland. There was not a fitting job for my husband. And turns out we now find ourselves in the country of Switzerland. I have these Ireland is crazy expensive videos. And now I'm in Switzerland, which I guess I have expensive taste or something. I don't know, but it's a little bit funny. So our move away from Ireland isn't really like a strong negativity or strong desire to escape the country. It was just more a natural progression of life. And we felt, while it was hard to leave friends behind, there are just a lot of things we really enjoyed about Ireland. It did feel like the right decision. And if you haven't grown up in this kind of lifestyle, it can be hard to understand this. But if you are similar to myself, if you've lived in different countries, different places, it almost feels like after a certain amount of years, you get a little bit antsy. Like, it's hard to stop and it's hard to settle. So Ireland has been such a long time for us, if I think about it, because the longest I've ever lived in one place, so this was during my childhood in Finland, that was 7 years. And we lived in Ireland for 6. So that's actually a really long time for me to stay in one place, in one house, pretty much. And the same country. Yeah, we just leave behind some very special friendships, a lot of huge life events that occurred while we lived in Ireland. So both of our children were born there. And yeah, I would never tell anyone, oh, don't move to Ireland. Quite the opposite. Like, if you have it on your heart, just do it. It's a great country to live. Of course, no place is perfect. And I could talk about some of those honest negative points as well at some point. But yeah, it's a great place to live. Have nothing to complain, but unfortunately now we've had to start rebuilding our life in a different country. And the reason I even wanted to bring this up or share this update is because even though I still want to talk about Ireland a lot in my content plan, I have topics that relate in one way or another to Ireland until at least early next year. So it's not going to be sort of a sudden shift. But of course, since I'm not there anymore in person, it will become harder and harder to discuss things that relate to Ireland. So I wanted to let you know that eventually there might be a shift to the content or the sort of country that I'll be talking about. But yeah, at the moment still, there are so many topics that I still want to check off a list before I would consider completely stepping away from the topic of Ireland. Like, I want a viewer to be able to come to my channel, find an Ireland playlist, and get good information and a clear picture of what kind of country they'd be going to, what kind of procedures or rules or things like that they would need to know about. And I just don't feel like I'm there yet. So I understand that a lot of you subscribed because you want Ireland specific content. And I just hope that I can still bring you valuable content and information in the months to come. So in my plan, I hope to weave in some more general expat topics. So I'm not planning on jumping straight from Ireland to Switzerland either, because I do have sort of a larger vision that I've actually had since the very beginning. And while this probably feels like a sudden shift for you as a viewer, especially if you are newer to this channel, for me, it's actually part of an original vision that I had and a bigger plan, sort of next step towards that. Because as I mentioned, that list of countries where I've lived, I would love to be able to talk about all of those countries. And I'm really interested in the different cultures of Europe, the peculiarities of it. And I would love to be able to help non-Europeans navigate not just Ireland or Finland or Austria, but like the Europe on a broader spectrum in the bigger picture. So I would love to include more information about some of the countries where I've lived in, culture stuff, just in general, things about the European way of life overall. Yeah, so I hope that can still be interesting to you, even if you subscribed to this channel to learn about Ireland. So at the moment, even though I live in a different country now, not much will change for you in the coming months, because I will still be focusing on Ireland, and I will sprinkle in some more general topics about expat life here and there. But I've tried to do that now already, so it shouldn't be actually too much of a change. And eventually I'll probably start talking more about Switzerland, but I don't envision doing that until early 2027. And as always, do let me know if there are topics specifically that you would be interested in me covering. Some weeks ago, there were some comments about or questions about retiring in Ireland. That video should be coming up soon. I'm not too familiar with that topic, so it's taken me a while to look into it, but I'm working on that. And some other Ireland culture related videos and some practical kind of how to get set up in the system types of videos. So stay tuned for those. That is my update for today. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate every one of you and hope that I can provide content to you that is helpful and informative and also encouraging if you want to move to Ireland or to Europe or be an expat in general. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.